Pride and Prejudice is probably one of the most well-known historical pieces of literature, and certainly without a doubt one of the most influential of all time. But it's also over 200 years old, and some things have changed. And some things just don't make sense to our modern minds. Firstly, and the first thing that will stick out to you about Pride and Prejudice, the English is very old, and that's not a problem with the writing or the book, but times have changed, and it's really strange for women to be called handsome and people to talk about impropriety. If you want to read this book and fully understand what is happening or what is being said, you will need a dictionary or some other resource to figure out what these words mean, just because so much of this book has fallen out of use. And again, that isn't a fault on the writing or Jane Austen, but it does take away points for a modern reader because it is such a hurdle to get over. What is also a hurdle to get over is a lot of the messaging and social commentary is obviously quite effective if you were someone living in 1800s England, but it was so effective that a lot of the things that this book complains about are either severely diminished or behaviors that I would consider extinct in most modern societies. No, don't get me wrong, people still marry for money, but it's not as prevalent as is described. Also being a work of early fiction, a lot of the romance kind of happens off screen. I don't know what it is with the British literary tradition and just skipping over anything that might actually be interesting. The two main characters talk about their feelings towards one another more than they talk to each other, and it gets really repetitive, and this whole book, in my opinion, is really repetitive. It did not need to be this long. It is too much. Too damn much. That isn't to say that this book is just bad. It isn't. There's a certain quality to the writing that makes it more engaging and easier to follow if you understand the old-timey English. Some of the individual bits and gags make you realize that people have not changed in 200 years as much as they have. A lot of the personalities are things that I would groan about on a daily basis. People who talk too much, people who are a little narcissistic, that kind of thing. It can be really fun at times, but individual scenes are a lot more entertaining than the grander narrative, which seems to take a little bit of a nosedive pretty early. And again, I'm sure this was just the standard of the time, but there's so many scenes that don't need to exist, and so many plot points that just don't really go anywhere. There are whole parts of this book that I feel like don't add anything. I'm sure a lot of this is just because I'm a Zoomer and I need things to be a little bit more well-paced for me to enjoy them, but I enjoy lots of slower-paced things as well, so I don't know if it's entirely responsible for that, and I'm sure I'm going to get so many comments of people telling me that I'm just too stupid to understand it. And maybe I am, but I don't know. It kind of feels like from most people I know, most people are too stupid to understand this book, if that's the case. Good in short bursts, but it really hasn't aged as well as I would have hoped. 6 out of 10. Thank you for getting to the end of this very negative book review. I'm sorry if you like this book, that's fine. Enjoy what you like, but if you still don't hate me, if you want to do all the YouTube stuff, that's just the bonus. I'll see you guys next time.